wrestling kids and the millions listening live around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready for Around the Table.
Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to Roundtable Wrestling, live on KISS Radio. I am one of your esteemed hosts and moderators, Keith the Wild Man Miller. And joining me, as always, is my brother, Pablo Kino Aquino.
Skibbity Wrestling, everybody.
And filling in this week for Brent the Nightmare Ward, we have our special guest all the way from Baltimore, Maryland, David D-Lo Logan.
How y'all doing out there? I'm happy to be here. I think it was last minute, but I'm happy to be here. I'm like a fan.
Awesome.
Nice
Happy to have you, brother. All right, so Pablo, we got a lot of news to get to this week. Why don't you go ahead and kick it off, man?
All right, so the wrestling news. We got some changing of the hands of hardware, titles, not belts, not Gucci, none of that, titles. So first very important matter is what happened on SmackDown is Braun Breaker for the second time or third time?
I think it's the second time.
Because that was messing me up. We'll talk about that later. Braun Breaker becomes new IC champion, beating main event Jey Uso in yet another main event, probably record-tying or record-setting main event for Jey Uso, with the help from the menacing Jacob Fatu. All right, so Keith, how do you feel about the fact that there was another very short reign for the IC belt?
Well, to be completely honest, I think we established when it happened that I wasn't super happy with Jay winning the belt in the first place. I thought that Braun Breaker was representing well as the champion. And now seeing as how they had it happen, the way they had it happen, Jay's title run was just a way to get him involved in the bloodline feud. Like, how is he going to refuse Roman and Jimmy now? Jacob cost him the belt. So, I mean, it served its purpose. Hopefully now they keep it on Braun for a while and let him beat some people up. So
yeah, well, I feel you're absolutely right. And I'll throw it to D-Lo after I mention some things, but I'd say it was 100% now that we look back and talk about that prop. Yeah. That whole prop conversation we had last week, It definitely feels like the IC belt was a prop on Jey Uso's, because it was just a way of Roman being able to come to him and be like, you need help, we need help. If we had your back, this wouldn't have happened. You would have been good with us. Now we have a bigger problem. There's a lot going on with that storyline, and the fact that Jacob Fatu was the one to keep, the one to mess Jey Uso up, which might either lead to that or it might just lead to the whole hierarchy being maybe Jacob really is the one that should have the Ulafala after all, It's like
maybe.
But we'll see. We'll see which way they go. But D-Lo, I'll shoot it to you. How do you feel about this yet another short reign, maybe the fourth in a row short reign?
Man, I knew the writing was on the wall on SmackDown. When he showed up, I was like, man, he gonna lose that belt. And they're setting up. It seemed like they're setting up for the big bloodline explosion. I said this on my show. I say the Wiseman comes back next week on Dia de la Muerte on November 1st, because he's gonna stab Roman. Because if you know Heyman, you know his history.
Okay,
He always that hot guy. the hot thing, the hot prospect, the hot thing.
Mhm.
Anything that's lit, he always on attached to it. So I
And
say,
he would and you would say he would go, who would he side with? Would he side with specifically Solo, or do you think he'd side with
Ooh,
Jacob?
Jacob, and tell him that he's the man. That could be interesting.
Whew.
low key was thinking Jacob, but all the whole Solo rock, all that contingent, that he gonna acknowledge that more and acknowledge that and be like, I acknowledge that and realize that he was right in seeing that Solo's the next man up. And then
Mhm.
down the line, I think they're gonna be bringing some Jacob stuff. They're building it similar to how they brought Solo in when Roman. It's similar, but they're doing it different with Jacob because he can do
Mhm.
a couple things different to Solo and bring a couple menacing things to the table. So I see that.
You're right. That's the funny thing, and I'll mention one thing before we move on to the next, but I would definitely say that the fact that Jacob Fatu is Jacob Fatu makes this storyline completely go a different direction. Like
Right.
it literally opened up a world. No other debut has been this impactful. And I don't think any debut will be as impactful as Jacob Fatu coming in and literally every single week it's him. Another dream match gets flirted with, him and Jay, him and Braun, him and Cody, him and Roman, him and Solo. It's just he opens up the world, and he obviously has belt put on him or belt written on him.
Yeah.
And
Hey, don't forget about him and Logan Paul.
yeah, I
Talking
think
about
they'll
three
yeah,
matches.
but also I do think that there will be
That'd
another
be
short
wild.
reign.
That'd be wild as hell. I ain't gonna lie. That
Oh,
Yeah.
was,
as
I mean, I don't see any reason for it, but I think the match would be
I
something to
think Jacob
watch.
be the face, and Jacob be the face in that one.
Yeah.
so let's
Yeah.
get
People
on.
hate Logan Paul, dude.
We'll touch more on that when we get to the SmackDown part, but let me get to
Yeah.
the other important title change. Tom Latimer wins the NWA World's Championship from EC3.
Okay. All right. Yo, when I looked him
So
up, I
this
was like,
is
oh, that brand. I was like,
Yeah,
seeing
that's for
that.
him. Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, damn, good stuff. Well,
Yeah.
good.
so I'll give it on to you, D'Lo. How do you feel? How do you feel
Uh,
about Tom with this
Shout out the brand. Shout out my nine brand. That's why I had that little weight. Shout out my man's brand to get the W.
Yeah.
Also, yeah. I was wondering who was gonna get that belt from EC3 because I know I don't really watch NBA like that. I know that a lot of talent was there when they went to AEW, and that's when it was like right before COVID and everything was lit. And then when they got
Yeah.
shut down, they was done so too. So, but good for them. They got somebody off with EC3. So good. Build some new stars. Make a name for themselves. I like it.
hand it
Yeah.
over to you,
So,
Keith?
yeah. So I kind of think that it's sort of a lateral move, to be completely honest. Like, I think Tom Latimer has proven himself in the NWA, and he's developed into a really, really good wrestler, like a credible champ. I mean, physically, he's always been a credible champ. In the ring, maybe not so much, but I think that he's developed himself into a credible champ. EC3 may have a little bit more charisma, but he also has giant ears that distract me. Um,
So
I like
petty.
and, and Thomas Latimer has he's British, so being British kind of gives you some charisma automatically. For some, they've got a flair.
Oh
Uh,
man.
but yeah, I feel like it's a lateral move. I don't think. I think they're both credible, um, and I think it's kind of a reward for Thomas Latimer for not jumping like everybody else did. Like D'Lo mentioned, so many people left for AEW. So for him to stick it out, and put in the time, he deserves it. So good for him,
I
man.
I agree. That's the one thing that it screams to me. It's just, the rub.
Yeah.
It's the thank you for being loyal to us, kind of something that you'll just naturally see, like Kofi, like
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan, like a lot of these very, I would say he's deserving because he's been putting on, he goes out week after week and he's puts on a good promo. He's good in the ring. He looks like a good champion. He looks like
Yeah.
the 10 pounds of gold is going to look good around that waist or around that shoulder or however that works.
However he decides to carry it. Yeah.
Just want to figure out where he goes with this. And, there's plenty opponents he can. I'd imagine that EC3 and his massive ego, he'll probably get the rematch and
Yeah.
who knows who wins that. But shout out to everybody in NWA. Shout out to Mims also, national heavyweight champion. So
I say Mims.
Yeah.
I was thinking the rapper, yo.
Oh, Mims, the rapper.
No, not music is my savior. No.
Not that dude.
Shout out to him too if he listens to podcasts about wrestling and stuff like that. I don't know. Okay, so next topic on that is TKO, which is the company Supreme.
Yeah.
Buys PBR.
Ooh.
Is bull riding still a thing?
It'd be like ESPN2, yo.
I mean,
ESPN2 Sunday night, Sunday afternoon specials.
It actually is. It actually bull riding actually is a
Like the
thing
same
because
with
they had it at the XL Arena over here not too long ago, like a few months ago, and I was asking about it, and I was like, "Is this a real thing?" And they were like, "Yeah, it's pretty fun, and maybe one day."
Right.
But I don't understand the correlation.
Violence. You're
Really?
watching a cowboy fight a bull. I mean, in a sense.
Catching sense.
And I mean, just sports in general. When I was a kid, bull riding, there was like a block on ESPN with like bull riding, monster trucks, pro wrestling, roller derby. They were all kind of aired at the same time in the afternoon. So,
To be honest, I was gonna say, to be honest, if
yeah.
I want to watch cowboys get flipped around and thrown around, I'll just watch football on Sunday. That's my petty commander joke of the day. So,
Oh man,
yo, my friend does the same thing with his roasting the cowgirls. He be roasting them any chance he can get.
man.
But
yeah. I won't call them out their name, but yeah, that's how I feel about them.
That's how he calls them. I don't know.
Good luck in third place. Otherwise, yeah, I suppose the violence aspect, they're gonna go on they're gonna get a good block between the pillow fighting and dodgeball. So, in the slap championship,
and Shirley, they got all that block.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the thing is, like, if there's people who will tune in to watch people play poker, there's obviously people who are going to tune in to watch bull riding. I mean, it's going to have
there'll be
its
people to
fans.
turn on anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
Oh, no, it's fine.
anything on TV will be watchable to somebody.
Right.
Just what it is.
Right. And if they can, I don't think that they would buy a company that wasn't turning a profit. I can't imagine it costs a ton of money to put on a bull riding event. So I mean, I guess it's just another way to generate income. So,
or maybe get a different demographic.
Right. If they do some cross promotion, who knows?
Definitely that.
D-Lo, do you know much about any bull riding?
I only seen a few episodes when it was on ESPN2 and Classic way back in the day, and they just I know it's a time thing. That's it. But outside of that, child to the bull riders. They get more.
Oh my goodness. I was gonna say you've watched way more than me, but I'll say
right.
We had pro wrestler Dominus Masqué from New Mexico was watching. And he said, "Poker, like the people watch poker." I was like, "Poker, hardly even know."
It's the same thing I said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. People watch poker; they'll watch bull riding. That's
I watched WoW actually recently at the gym.
Nice,
I was
nice.
surprised to stumble upon it, but it's on the CW.
It is, yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
interesting.
seen that. I watch that
Well, I
once.
like.
We should maybe we should start incorporating WoW now that the NWA doesn't have a national TV deal. I
Yeah,
could watch WoW. I mean,
WoW is more of a mainstream thing because it's on TV now. So yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's true.
Right. In quick news, I would say because I don't want to put too much on people's personal lives, but it's
Yeah,
confirmed Adam Cole and Britt Baker are no longer together.
but they're
They
still
didn't,
homies. You know, they're still homies. So
yeah, some
yeah,
things just don't work out, you know.
yeah,
Not everybody has to burn their bridges, and you know, they didn't really have much going on simultaneously or involved with each other anyway. But
right.
yeah, that's a thing. And then just want to mention that. Not
Yeah.
much on that. Luchasaurus is recovering from double pneumonia,
Damn.
which is interesting because Debo Samuel actually got hospitalized after his game with pneumonia.
Man,
Oh,
that's
Yeah,
rough, man.
getting colder out there, so
Yeah, it's cold. You're traveling. You're coming across different people. Germs everywhere, man. Just be careful.
wish
It
a
sucks.
wish a recovery to
Yeah,
Luchasaurus for his body and
oh,
recovery for the hearts of Adam Cole and Britt Baker.
indeed. I
that.
mean, as long as it's not a Triple H China situation, I don't feel like it's really our business. You know what I mean? It's not going to affect wrestling. Um,
That.
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
7 years is a long time to be together. You know what I mean?
mm,
So I'm glad that they're doing it.
we can't necessarily say that it doesn't because we've seen what relationships falling apart has done to the other when it comes to booking and when it comes to certain
Well,
things.
that's what I'm saying. If it's a Triple H China situation, then
Hmm.
then it's interesting. It's of
Mhm.
interest to wrestling fans. But if they just
Yeah.
continue on, I mean, if it's a Macho Man and Elizabeth situation, then it doesn't matter as much because they got married on TV 3 years after they got divorced. So,
It's wild.
so you know,
Oh man.
Wow.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so
Nah, that's good.
we have a few things to discuss in length. All right.
yeah,
So we on to the meat and potatoes of what we're all thinking.
yeah.
So Samantha Irvin,
Oh.
goated ring announcer,
Man,
has not been fired and didn't just out of the blue quit. Apparently spoke of her, wanting to move on, and it could be speculation why. It could be a music career
right.
thing. It could be wanting to go home and build a life with Ricochet, or just not liking the grueling, you know,
Yeah,
to be replaced by longtime ring announcer Lillian Garcia.
LG.
hey,
Exactly. GOAT replaced by her predecessor.
yeah,
Hey.
Somebody who is known for being a very, very good at her job, very passionate, very good singer. Same thing. She left in order to explore other avenues, and we've already seen Samantha Irvin on shows and things like that. She's been on reality shows. She's been on like singing shows,
Mhm.
and
Lillian Garcia was super successful in the Spanish language music market too. Like she put out some albums that sold. After she left WWE, she put out some albums that like went platinum that were
she
Spanish language albums. So
she's
it's
great,
not
great
like
voice.
just because people didn't necessarily see her blowing up. She did blow up, just not necessarily in the markets that you might have followed.
Right.
Not in the way that Britney Spears did or whatever, but
So I want to pose this, all right?
yeah.
Is there any speculation because so many people brought it up, right? Let's kind of give our opinions. Is there any speculation that she goes to another promotion?
Hell no.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Because
I
that's
think she was
something
happy.
that, yeah.
I think
She
she
gonna
was happy in WWE. I think it's
Mhm.
more she wants to do other stuff.
Same thing. You feel the same way, D'Lo?
Most definitely. Yeah, she want to do her own stuff. Yeah, she want to let Ricochet do his thing. She want to do her thing, and they're gonna be together. Around that. So I'm a little
Yeah.
sad she's gone, but I can't be mad that she
For
gonna.
very selfish reasons, I'm upset that she's gone.
Well, dude, she didn't take her Instagram down. You know what I mean? So we can still
Yeah, you still,
we can still hop up on Instagram.
you
No, I
still
just-
see her. You just ain't gonna see her on the weekly.
Yeah.
Oh man. All
One
right.
thing that I will say about Lillian Garcia, her placement in the ring as a ring announcer is perfect. And it's something that, especially working with independent wrestling talent, a lot of ring announcers don't pick up. They're in the way when they do their stuff. Lillian Garcia, freaking, the music hits. She moves out of the center, gives it to the wrestlers, gives them their space to do their thing. She's a professional all the way, dude. And they're not losing anything by having her come back other than,
Personal.
yeah, personal stuff. I mean, Lillian Garcia's a beautiful woman too. I'm not going to, but
She
Samantha
looks
Irving
better
is,
than she looks better now.
she does. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
goodness, I saw a back to back of when she retired from announcing or ring announcing what 20 years ago?
Yeah. That was a while ago.
Oh man, she's
Oh.
beautiful. But can we also mention that, her first night on the job, she did have a pretty major slip up.
Number one containers over here.
Um,
Well, remember when she said Chris Jericho's name wrong and he made her say it over and over again? So I mean, she's not without her mistakes, man. But
There we go. Y'all here.
it happens.
TV.
It happens.
It's live TV, man.
Well, we do the same thing. Sometimes I mess up and I think I called Ivan Koloff Nikita Koloff one time.
It happens.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I'm glad we weren't live last week.
I get you what you say. Okay, here's one more thing on the Lillian Garcia, right?
Yeah.
Do we see any interactions between her and Rocky?
Oh, that'd be fun.
Because they were always known for having,
Yeah.
that chemistry.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
Lillian Garcia having the same last name as The Rock's wife as well.
Right.
But or ex-wife now. But yeah, when I was
think we
younger,
will.
remembering those jokes and how he was always kind of flirting with her.
Right.
I'm just wondering if we get any reprisal of that, any callbacks to that from Rocky.
Oh, I'm sure we will. He's clever enough. He'll jump on it. I mean,
Yeah. You see.
my favorite thing was how Lillian used to announce Rob Van Dam. I have no idea why, but just the way she used to do his introduction with the rhythm that she used to do it. I mean, to me, I was just like, wow, that's exciting.
Everybody wanted to do the RVD.
Yeah,
That's the only
but
reason
not
why I
everybody
worked
could
my
nail it the way
biceps.
she did. You know what I mean? Not everybody could nail it the way she did. I always thought she did a really good job.
Okay, let me stop doing that. All right, so we wish the best to Samantha Irvin. To be honest, I feel like we need ring announcers, we need color commentators, we need the best of the best in the business. Hopefully there's more coming along like her, but she is her emotional Cody Rhodes announce, when she did, that's one of the most iconic in history because just of that. But Keith, you had something that you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I do want to say that I think the fact that they had Lillian out there for the last pay-per-view and kind of hyped her up a little bit, I think that shows that they were setting it up.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
So I think the fans who kind of were like, "Oh, she just abandoned," first of all, it's a business decision, but second of all, it clearly wasn't the case. So
yeah. All right, so here is something that must be. It's more. It might be a little bit more on the political area because of sensitivity, right?
Yeah.
So usually we have the heel dynamics where some heels are just kind of dumbish or they just do goofy stuff, right? So There was a segment with Carlito that happened this latest episode where he was speaking to Adam Pearce in behest of,
They're
Dominic
Dominic.
in order to give him a championship match, which literally is just setting up for Dominic getting squished by Braun Strowman. But
Or he could win, man.
something Mhm. But something happened that had gotten the IWC of a gaff. They started to kind of blow things out of proportion. So I wanted to mention this first. I don't want to take any sides first, but I want to give everybody their opinion, then I'll say my own. But Carlito made a reference to Damage Control, who was Kairi Sane and Io Sky speaking to Adam Pearce intelligibly in his mind because he doesn't speak Japanese, I imagine. So he was it was very chattery, like purposely done that way so it'd just be like white noise. Then Carlito comes in and then he makes a reference to what was the word exactly?
I've got to learn Chinese.
So
That's what he said. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he made a reference to the two Japanese wrestlers speaking Chinese, which was not the case, which was Japanese. But then there were certain people that took to the X, or formerly known as Twitter, and they started to have a very colorful opinion of Carlito, and I'd like to know what you guys think about that situation as far as, what exactly was it? Was it was it an honest mistake? Was it intentional racism? Was it like, what do you think? Let me start with D Low because I see Keith is chomping at a bit right now, but I want to get what you want to. I want to hear what you have to say first.
It predates Connie before 2012, in my opinion, because it was funny. I understand why people be mad and be all in their feelings about, you gotta be perfectly on the joke, but that's kind of the joke. I speak Chinese. Like, they're Japanese, you know that. But he's a goof. He's a goofball. He's gonna say the wrong thing. So people say they want the add all the time, but I don't think they be prepared for all the stuff that they would say and all the raunchy stuff. So I look at that as people are not as funny as we are used to. That's why our comedies aren't really popping like we used, or like they used to back in the day. So I say people to try to find the wrong thing in the wrong place. If it was worse, it was way worse, I've heard. So that's how I see it.
All right. And then Keith, if I could get how you feel about the whole situation.
Yeah, so I've got quite a bit to say, so hopefully you guys can bear with me a little bit here. Because I want to touch on some of the stuff D'Lo's touched on, but maybe expand a little bit.
All right.
So I've had this conversation with a lot of people. Something going on?
The chat said we're getting some feedback.
Oh, that's not good. I'm not hearing any, but
might not be on that. Might be on the live feed.
Oh, okay.
Just something to keep track of. But continue.
Yeah. Okay. So, I think what a lot of people don't realize is that racist jokes, when they're jokes, shine a light on the people who are actual bigots and the people who actually, feel that way. Like it's not a joke. You know what I mean? So there's that to consider. Making a joke about a behavior shines the light on the people who perpetuate that behavior. The other thing is, if a joke is good, it's offensive. It's going to offend somebody. Like if your joke doesn't offend someone, it's probably not that funny. So, sorry, I'm a little distracted by what's going on in the chat. I'm trying to keep my thoughts together.
I'm checking the same
But
thing
I think
too.
we're good now. I think we're good now.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah, so like if a joke isn't offensive, it's probably not that funny. Like everybody could tell a knock knock joke, get a couple chuckles. But, if you want to say something that's really going to make people laugh, there's going to be somebody who's offended by it somewhere. Like, just depending on what your segment is.
Mhm.
The last thing is Carlito is an idiot. the idea, the idea of someone being so dumb.
Please preface.
Yeah, the character of Carlito is an idiot.
Kayfabe.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Okay.
The
Not
idea.
many people know, because remember, people are saying that's what they're saying online,
Oh
about
my.
stuff like
Okay. Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, I am not saying Carlito, the human being, is an idiot. I'm saying Carlito on Monday Night Raw, the member of Judgment Day, who got asked what he even contributes to the group, is an idiot. The guy who thought that he could go to freaking Adam Pearce and convince him that Dominic Mysterio, who never wins any freaking matches, should get a world title shot is an idiot. Okay, that guy is a dumbass. So, so for somebody to see two beautiful Japanese women and say, "I've got to learn Chinese," because he's so stupid that he can't tell the difference is funny.
Oh goodness.
That's funny, dude. It's not even on. It's not even a reflection of them. Like I said, it puts the emphasis on people who actually think that way. It makes Carlito look bad. It doesn't make Asian people look bad. It's not saying all Asian people look the same. It's saying to this dumbass, all Asian people look the same. There you
We
go.
got we got
I'm
a mention from Jay Sizzle said he is basura. I was like, I don't know about that. I don't know if you can call him mierda. If I can give my take, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
So I agree with both to an extent, both of you. How I feel about that is that, yeah, he's playing up his character. He is like how they kind of perceive R-Truth, even though we know R-Truth is a smart man,
Yeah.
Respectable father. He likes to play that, and this is the same Carlito that thought he could get Jesus to stab John Cena and that he'd be just fine.
Exactly.
He wouldn't get wrecked and get his US title taken away from him. But specifically, I don't believe that anybody should have an issue with this, because he is he's doing his job, and he's doing it at the highest caliber. And I believe that Carlito should, because of things like this, should have a big push coming up. I think that he stood up and he spoke for the first time, really, when he was speaking to, we'll get to that segment in SmackDown, but I think they're showing him more, and I think they're giving him more but he's taking initiative, which is exactly, and I think that's him mentioning that to Adam Pearce is going to be like, you know what? Since you seem to show, why don't you go for the championship? Like, why don't you win the championship? If you say I don't, Raquel's going to be like, oh, if you say I don't bring anything, like, what have you done? He'd be like, you know what? I'm going to go to M. Pierce and be like, I want a championship match. We already have Braun Breaker, who can drop the title at a moment's notice anyway, because it doesn't matter, because it'll always look like the strongest thing in the world.
Right.
Have him take a back, what is that? Backbreaker, the double knee backbreaker. What is that even called again?
Oh, backstabber.
Have him take a backstabber and give Carlito a championship. Why not?
Heck yeah. Apple in the face, backstabber. Boom.
I think he did exactly. He tries a spear. He runs into the ropes, super rope assisted backstabber for the win. Why not?
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah.
But I think also as a resident Puerto Rican, my mother is from the same, my family in Puerto Rico is from the same area as Carlito. We just say chinito for any sort of Asian person. It's if you think about it, it is a little racist, but that's just how language is. So I don't think anybody should be outraged because we had Crime Time on TV and
We did.
a fake George Bush pretending to say the N-word,
I mean, we
and
had
then
Kerwin White.
Vince actually saying the N-word in front of
Yeah.
Booker T to kind of
Yeah.
show
The
him, hey,
whole
that's what
do-rag
you get.
thing.
Exactly. This is old WWE and stuff like that, but remember, WWE wants to take a step into the future. You know, they
Right.
want to show. So I don't mind the Carlito thing, but I don't think race humor has a place anymore.
Fair.
And
That's
that's my one thing about it. You know, I shoot Carlito Bale because he's just being a good heel. That's his character, to be ignorant, to be stupid. He's a smart man in real life, but you know, that's his. Otherwise, I hope he doesn't get any backlash for this because, like I said, you can get canceled for anything nowadays. Don't let it be something on TV.
Yeah.
You know? So, speaking of damage control, right?
Mm.
What obviously damage control looks different now because they've added, they've subtracted, they've lost their leader, you know, and for the most part they lost their mouthpiece. But how do you guys feel about the decline of a formerly menacing tag team of Kairi Sane and Io Sky and, you know, Asuka, who has been off of TV, and
Yeah.
Kai, who's been off of TV. So how do you feel about damage control being where they are right now? Let me give it to Keith first, and then I'll get to D'Lo.
So the one, yeah, man, Io Sky and Kyrie Sane are still so good. And I get that, you know, what we talked about, the lack of an English speaker, losing Dakota Kai, losing Bailey really hurt them. They obviously didn't know that Dakota was going to get injured again right when they took Bailey away from them. But when they were the NXT tag team champions and when they were the SmackDown women's tag team champions, they didn't have a mouthpiece and they were whooping everybody.
Yeah.
So I don't understand what's changed other than Bianca and Jade winning the belts and them trying to move towards bigger women's tag teams just like they do with the men. They want, you know, more imposing figures to challenge Bianca and Jade. One of the things that I have to look at, like when I think about something like this, is the match they had with Lash and Jakara.
The metaphor. Yeah.
Yeah. If you watch, there was a moment where it looked like Lash got lost. And instead of trying to compensate, she took Io Sky and slammed her on the ground on the back of her head. That was one of the most disrespectful things I've ever seen in my life. Like, Io Sky is a veteran. I understand that you're supposed to be this big, strong, whatever, but there had to be a different way to figure that out. But it just shows to me what their position is now. You know, like getting ragdolled is nothing to them. And I hate it. I really hope that they can do something to get the aura back because they're still two of the best in-ring performers that there are. You know, it
Yeah.
just sucks.
No, I get you. D'Lo, if I can get how you feel on this.
I say, man, it's like said the injuries. I think they lost both. Asuka, she got hurt in May, well before WrestleMania, something like that. And then it was Dakota Kai like that back to back. I think that's what hurt her. And they're trying. I think they keep him on the back burner, but they're doing a way to like try to bring up other girls at the same time. So that's what I think they're doing. They're trying to hold till Kai comes back. They say she's supposed to come back around this time. I figure she come back around early November, like maybe like mid, something like that. So I think that's why they at where they at now. I hope it's temporary because they still lit and they still get the big reaction. They still get live ties. CEO beat Bianca, so it's not like they're always like buried and stuff like that. You know, I mean, Kyrie don't get a lot of wins. She get wins here and there, but That's few and far in between, but they still treat it as a serious deal. But I think they might flirt with EO and not Liv and Raquel. I think they're gonna try to incorporate them in that mix too with the tag division. I think they're gonna mix them in the mix.
I
So
think, yeah.
I'm thinking some new girls from all divisions. Like they got Chelsea and Piper, Lash and Jakar, Corjay and Bianca, Unholy Union. They got a lot. The Perfusion Collective. They got a lot of girls teams they trying to build up at the same time. Kate and Katana, them two got a lot of girls, so they trying to add more meat to their division. So I think they're trying to keep them on the cool down until they got their girls back. I think they're going to be the next champions. I honestly think they're going to take the titles. I don't know when. I would say either next year, early next year, something like that. I can see it on the road to WrestleMania. I can see it.
You know,
Man,
when you said that, yeah.
Oh, can I say something real fast?
Oh, yeah,
If that's the payoff for all this, I mean,
I can see
first of all, that would be shocking. I don't think a lot of people see it coming, and second of all, then it would make up for this, I guess.
It was shocked. It'll be a shock because they're like, oh damn, they did. It was like kind of unexpected, but it'll be like when the girls come back. I think maybe Asuka comes back and then just like miss the face, some crazy shenanigans happen, and then they get the belts like that type. Like I can see that happen.
I agree. I agree that one, if we're talking about what's really led to the decline right now, it's hard not to say that Bailey leaving immediately started a downward spiral because afterward they tried to make them a bit more menacing, and the year started out with Damage Control, after WrestleMania, and Jade and Bianca, feuding and them being in the rafters, during Bailey's match and all of that. And then thing is though, I think that they got ragdolled. I think Jade and Bianca and Metaphor and Piper Niven and Chelsea Green, those three are more physically menacing, physically dominating.
Mm-hmm.
Feel like it does make them look a little bad. Them not having a mouthpiece does hurt a bit, but it's really more for the story angle. If you're looking at it as just, okay, these people are feuding, they're fighting, these two are good wrestlers, these other two are good wrestlers, let them go at each other. Yeah. But they seem like an afterthought, especially with what happened this week, considering that it was just, they made Metaphor look good, they made Piper and Chelsea look good, and they made every other women's tag team look better than them, because not many other, they had to do a run-in to make sure that they wouldn't lose because they were going to lose against Metaphor.
Yeah.
Metaphor is physically, they are the closest to Jade and Bianca as we'll ever get. There's only been two like them, and you're staring at them. Like I might stare at them in 1 or 2 seconds too long, but that's just a personal thing.
We can all say that too.
I don't know what guy can do to get abs like either Jade or Bianca. My goodness. Good. Ooh wee. No. So pretty much, I do think that it's really just competition.
Yeah.
Bailey leaving them, there's bigger, better teams, and we're not even talking about Pure Fusion right now, because Pure Fusion, like, they were the ones that eventually are going to beef with Damage Control because they're the ones that hurt Dakota Kai. So at some point, they're set up. It was written in the stars for them to face each other, just like it was written in the stars that the Final Testament and the Wyatt Six would face each other, which is something I'll mention. But yeah, I agree that I would like to see them as tag champions again, or just behind Asuka when she comes back, so she can get into the main. I want to see her and Charlotte rematch.
Yeah.
Asuka and Charlotte rematch is what I want.
Yeah.
So as far as we had mentioned NWA, right?
Hmm.
when we were
Well,
talking about Tom Latimer and NWA 76, and what is the status of their future? Do we believe?
They
Like,
need to. What I now heard earlier, they on the Twitter. So if you can find one of these subscription folks, if you can do that, maybe you can wait or something. Like a little Tubi, you know,
to be continued?
to be continued, Pluto TV, they hiring something. That's all I can say. Maybe a little I don't know about Netflix, but
no.
Amazon Prime,
Mm.
Disney
If I could,
Plus.
yeah. If I could mention something, and then Keith, I'll shoot it to you, but truly, I believe that this is the future. Streaming services and, YouTube TV, you know, X might do something of the same of the ilk. Peacock is Netflix is getting WWE Raw, so social media, they were already prevalent on social media because they're the most popular on Instagram. They put out a lot of content. They make themselves known, which is really what you have to do in this climate with every type of thing, whether you're doing music or whether you're wrestling or whether you dance and all of that. You really just have to flood the market. And this might be a precursor of what's to come in the future with other promotions, like getting deals. Lucha Underground was pretty much the first with their Netflix deal. But to see where they go with this, I wish them the best. I feel like there's a lot that they have over there. There is also a statement that I was given that was made by was it the person who is the
Billy Corgan.
Billy
For,
Corgan? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was a typo in here, but he made a statement. I'm gonna read this before I kick it to you, Keith. But
Okay.
Billy Corgan, what band was he part of? Remind me again.
Smashing
Smashing
Pumpkins.
Pumpkins. Yeah. No, Halloween themed. But he states, I bought this company to bring it back to the top, and we are going to do that because as long as I own the National Wrestling Alliance, we aren't going anywhere. We can't be stopped. We are wrestling history. We are wrestling as it's meant to be. If any man wants to come out and try to take the end away from me, he'll have to do it, or she'll have to do it out of my cold, dead hands.
how did I think that was his next sentence? That's always the stereotypical thing. Like, they're gonna have to pry this thing from my cold, dead hands. I was like,
Because rigor mortis.
Hey, yeah, that makes it hard to take.
Good Kendrick
So,
song.
they going Plex too.
Mhm.
so I mean, the first thing is Billy Corgan's statement as someone who has friends in the NWA and also enjoys the NWA as a product.
Mhm.
And just so people know, when I say stuff like that, I'm not trying to name drop or put myself over. It's just that's a consideration for me. Like I have friends who work there. Um, I just thought about how that might sound. It just kind of clicked. But
Well, you have a
anyway,
dog. You have a dog in the fight, so
exactly,
kind
yeah.
of.
The statement from Billy Corgan really is I like it. You know what I mean? The fact that he is like, we're not going to die, we're not going to go anywhere, and he certainly has the money and the connections to make sure that that statement's true. Um, I so sometimes I'm a little behind on technology. I used to not be the case, but now I'm getting older. Um, I
Hey,
don't feel like I
tired
don't
of
feel like
using technology. I need you right in front of me. Hey,
uh,
would you say technology? Oh
that's a
gosh.
good song. Um, anyway, um, yeah. So I feel like unless X can actually become a streaming app, which that's not out of the question, that they could develop programs and become a streaming app.
Mhm.
It won't get any more popular than Facebook Watch. Facebook Watch refused to become a separate app that you could like download on Fire TV or whatever. And they had some good shows on there, but nobody wants to watch a freaking show on their phone.
Right.
Few people might want to watch it on their laptop, but even a laptop doesn't compare to a freaking 90-inch TV. You know what I mean? Like it's just and casting, but there's people who are like, well, I don't want to tie up my phone. If you cast and then you do anything on your phone while you're casting, it's up on your TV. So
Mm-hmm.
so it's like they have to, if they're going to stick with X, if they're going to stick with doing social media. And I mean, this has been shown so many times. There's been so many apps that have tried to launch as an exclusive phone app, computer app, and they for television, and they've all failed. So I feel like NWA has to get it in gear, and like D'Lo was saying, find a streaming service. Get on Plex, get on Tubi, get on, get on anything to get themselves back out in front. Because in the last year, they've lost 2 deals. They lost Triller TV and they lost the CW. And that hurt. Regardless of how you want to look at it, that freaking hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if they want to thrive, they can survive. If Billy Corgan is committed to them surviving, they can do that. But if they want to thrive, they've got to get back on a platform other than something that people can only watch on their phones or laptops.
Yeah, I hear that. We all wish the best for
Absolutely.
NWA,
Absolutely.
ventures. We don't want to miss any, I want my entire week to be filled with wrestling shows,
Yes, sir.
I would say though, to remind y'all, you are listening to Roundtable Wrestling on Kitsch Radio, the greatest podcast this side of the Mississippi, and I know because I can see it from my house.
Alaska. I can see
Flex.
Russia.
From my house.
From my house.
I live off of the I'm going like this, but I live off the Mississippi River. Beautiful.
Nice.
Beautiful place, Minnesota. It's a beautiful place.
For sure.
So what I want to get into right now, and if you guys will indulge me, right? I want to mention a few things about the shows on WWE. Very quickly, I'm going to mention the matches that happen, and I want each of us to give like 1 or 2 minutes on one of the matches.
All right.
We'll pick whichever one we want to talk about. Does that work?
Sure. Yeah. Let's go for it, dude.
All right. Yeah, I want to try something new real quick. First thing, right? I'll mention all 4 of them. Right now, I have 4 things on here for my giveaways or my takes from Raw. New Day, Authors of Pain. They had a match. They had some shenanigans go on. All this really was just a precursor for Wyatt 6 versus Testament. So that's the one I picked. Okay. I'm sorry for not giving you the options, but Damage Control versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, the former tag champions, to a no contest because shenanigans. The next one was Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee defeating American Made, which was, I believe, the 2 Creed brothers.
Yeah.
And then obviously the main event, which the title changing hands really didn't matter in this case, did it? Braun Breaker beating main event Jey Uso to become once again Intercontinental Champion. So if I can mention a little bit more on the New Day Authors of Pain one, because I'm the one that did the 8-page blog about the Wyatt 6.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that they're getting into this immediately. If I'm being honest, I thought that they would maybe do a bit more. I still haven't seen an Uncle Howdy singles match. I still haven't gotten much of anything outside of them doing group work. And I think it's too early for Final Testament to die. Considering that Karrion Kross has his hooks into Xavier Woods, he has his hooks into The Miz. He seems like he's just possessing people. Like they have this juju, this bad vibe that they give, where they're like putting the seed of deception or like the darkness into somebody, and it's taking them over, and then they end up. Because you can tell with Xavier Woods, he wore the Black Power Ranger again. It just seems like he's sticking to more darker tones, and Kofi's on is bright green and he's always cheery, and Xavier's kind of developing some heel mannerisms.
Mhm.
But as far as the match goes, it was decent match. They were doing good spots. It never really mattered about the match. It was just getting to the next one. But if D'Lo, do you want to speak about one of those?
Well, they are leaning into this Zaire. So I'm wondering, are they gonna do the breakup or like they want the 10-year anniversary? I'm thinking because it seemed like just slowly building, plotting to it. I'm wondering when they gonna do it. Are they gonna do it at the
Mm.
War Games or on their anniversary? So I'm curious when that's gonna happen.
If I could press this, we did have word that Xavier, I don't know if it's supposed to be kayfabe or not, but all of them have speculated that they'll never break up. So do you think that it's possible? And then I'll ask the same thing to Keith. Do you think it's a possibility that Karrion Kross can ruin yet another faction after he ruined the Pride? After he's ruining, seems like he ruined Awesome Truth.
As they say in wrestling, never say never. That's like
Yeah.
he said too. He said that too. But I'm not AOP. Like, man, when they ain't gonna get a W? I think the only W I seen them get was against them jobbers that one time. That's it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when they get a W, I'm like, that's what I'm thinking about then. Like, they got to build that
Keith,
a little bit.
I hear you on that. Keith, if I could get a quick word on that.
Sure. So the first thing I was wondering when I saw the stills from Raw, because I have to watch the replay on Hulu. I wonder if Karrion Kross's gear was a tribute to Sid. Because for those of you who don't know, Sid was one of the first people in wrestling to be Lord Humongous.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that was a tribute to Sid. And if it was, nice touch. If it wasn't, it was as far as I'm concerned. And then, man, I really, really hope that the New Day never breaks up. I hate strong tag teams that have had successful runs breaking up. I'm just not a fan of it. I
If I
want
could
every
jump in on
team to be the Road Warriors. You know,
Right.
I
if
mean,
I
that's
could
just
jump in on that really quick.
yeah,
That's exactly what his sentiment was. I think Xavier Woods had an interview, and he said, "I'm tired of seeing all of these great, like even the Hardys broke up, even
right,
all of these different teams just breaking up and getting back together. Why can't we just have one that's eternal? Why can't
right.
we have one where they grow old together, their kids play together? Like
Yeah,
DIY had some of the best feuds in history, but they're literally friends outside of this. So why can't we
yeah.
just? And I hope Big E comes back and maybe talks some sense.
Yes,
Maybe in some way he comes back, even if it's not as a. Maybe he comes back as Xavier Woods' manager. Maybe he comes
yeah,
back in a different way. He's been. We wish him a speedy recovery. Lord knows he's been recovering for a long
yeah. I
time.
mean,
But
That was nasty. That was nasty, man.
if if Biggie comes back to wrestle, I just hope he's safe. You know,
All right.
mm,
um, we've seen people who were supposed to never wrestle again come back. So
a la Edge, Daniel
Edge,
Bryan,
yeah,
Soraya,
right, right.
so many.
Yeah, you'll see JBL. But like he trying to make a comeback.
You
I
know, I
will.
was I I was the one who from the beginning was like, is he actually going to wrestle? And everyone else was like, oh, it looks like he's just going to be an advisor. I didn't have anybody who thought he was going to wrestle, but
It's something that I will bring up
yeah.
because I
Oh
did
yeah.
see. I don't know if it was a tweet that y'all saw, but
I see it sweet.
yeah, he said more on the way, and I also was talking about that in TNA. Maybe if I get like 5 minutes of TNA, I'll mention that.
Right on.
But that was Raw. I would say one of the more pressing thing is that how do you feel about the end and how we touched a little bit on it, but how do you feel? Where do you think this goes now, considering that Jay does not have the belt anymore, the title? Not that he needed it, but
Right.
where does it go now since Jacob Fatu super kicked and decimated Jay Uso, giving Braun Breaker the opportunity to hit a very high angled, not very intense looking spear, but a spear nonetheless to beat Jimmy. Keith, start first if I could, and then D'Lo.
I mean, we already sort of talked about this. It's just leading into the bloodline stuff. Um, and Braun Breaker, I'm not sure who his next big feud would be. I'd like to see him and Braun Strowman. I think that would be fun and give Braun a little bit of a rub because he's kind of floundering a little bit.
Which Braun needs the rub?
Yeah.
About the Bronze.
Braun, I guess.
The
Braun
battles of
Strowman.
Bronze.
Braun and Braun. And I said before, like, I think Braun Breaker and Ilya Dragunov would be
Oh yeah.
fantastic.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
So I would love to see them do something like that.
It's something we've already gotten. So
They need to run it back. Hell yeah.
But I
So-
mean, as a feud, you know what I mean? As a series of
Mm-hmm.
matches, I think that they could do some really cool, creative stuff over
Yeah.
time. You wouldn't get the same match over and over again with those two. So
how do you feel, D'Lo? What do you feel about the do you feel like it's opening up Jacob Fatu for a belt or title? Or
I would say
think-
for the J thing, it was like a gift of being getting over. I think it was like you've been getting yourself over. I think that was a gift. That's what I thought for Jay. I was like, yeah, you get this thing for a little bit. Get him a little something to say main event. You got at least a single championship. At least he got that off his resume. So I think that's what they wanted to get for that. It's definitely gonna lead to him tearing back because he probably see his bros getting banked. Jimmy and Roman, he can be like, I don't want to doodles, but I got doodles and going go crazy. I think that's how it's going to start, and then that's going to bring back the top bosses and all. That's going to bring them back and be like, we're going to bring this thing right. And they're going to have to recruit. Let's say that they're going to have to recruit.
Yeah, well, it's just a precursor to War Games.
Yeah,
I think War Games at some point is it's coming up next, right, Keith? You wanted to mention something?
at the Crown.
Oh yeah, no, I just wanted to see, speaking about recruiting, did you see I believe it was Nia Jax posted a picture, like an older picture of her and the Usos and Tamina Snuka.
Oh, the family, yeah, down
yeah,
there.
yeah, and was talking about how they needed to bring some women into the bloodline.
Oh, that's always been something I've
Yeah.
thought about. Like, why isn't Tamina?
Yeah.
Why isn't Nia Jax? Why isn't the twins? I believe they're twins, right? The two ladies.
Yeah, I think that's one. Yeah,
They got another set of twins. There's so many. I just want The Rock to come out with like you remember when Slim Shady came out with a whole bunch of different Slim Shadys. I just want him to come out with Hikuleo and Zilla and
yeah.
everybody.
He redid that this year.
What
Yeah.
a good time. But I will say one thing. I do believe that the Intercontinental Championship took an L in this whole thing because it just became a side piece. It just became a prop. Like, and I'm sorry, I usually don't agree with the Vince Russo, but he was right. He was right, boys. Let's be honest. I would like to go. So we mentioned a few things about that, but there's so much wrestling to get to. I want to mention NXT first, and then we can get to the upcoming and the past SmackDown. But NXT, we had already mentioned it when we talked about Damage Control, but Lash Legend and Jakari Jackson beat them by disqualification because they all got beaten up by Piper Niven.
Yeah, they did.
She's just setting up for, in my eyes, a match between all three of them. We had Jada Parker, who is she's bad to the bone, bad in a good way. Speaking of bad in a good way, Obafemi defeated one of the.
It wasn't it was an A whooping. It was an ass whooping.
Oh yes, it was. You can say that it's an ass whooping.
You can say ass.
That wasn't even the most important thing Obafemi did, and that's what we're going to get to. But Sol Ruka defeated Carmen Petrovic. I do like Carmen Petrovic. Hank Walker and Tank Ledger, Hank and Tank beat OTM, Bronco Nima and Lucian Price. And then the big story was Julia and Stephanie Vaquer defeating Fallon Henley and JC Jane, which is Fatal Influence, 2/3 of Fatal Influence, and then an interesting debut. So I think there's two very glaringly obvious ones, and I want to bring up the first one. If Obafemi and Nikita Lyons become a thing, Obafemi is the champion for years. I don't want to see even him taking a 2-count pin. If he has that stallion of a woman with the lioness coat, if they become a couple, or she just becomes like his either mouthpiece or his arm candy, even though I don't really like the concept of arm candy because she's a wrestler herself. But are we looking at possibly Obafemi getting the help of Nikita Lyons? How do you feel about that little promo? D-Lo, let me go to you, D-Lo.
It was something, all right. Well, she was already talking to two brothers already, so she already got started. So, I mean, she already got eased in. So it was kind of like she's seen two brothers there chilling and talking to them, and she was oh my god, we got mesmerized.
He has been to many a cookout. I will tell you that for free.
Yeah, so guess that's the case. Dr. Umar's not gonna like this one, but he gonna have to enjoy this gonna happen.
I'm dead.
He gonna have to and on national television too, local television. Oh boy, it's that.
Brothers, we must stay focused. We must stay focused, brothers.
Oh man.
Hey man, that's Booty Central over there in NXT. That's what it is.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
good lord.
Gosh.
Even the little booties are popping.
There are not many little booties over there because we had a literal match between Nikita Lyons and Lola Vice.
Woo! Yeah.
And then Jada Parker. And then let me not just
Jada
tell you my Bing algorithm. But Keith, let me go to you. How do you feel about possibility of us having a Obafemi?
Okay. So
a Nikita Lyons.
So much stuff happened during that segment, first of all. We got a possible look at Javante Evans turning heel. We got Wes Lee. Oh, Javon, I'm sorry. Javon Evans turning heel. And Wes Lee kind of sticking his little Weasley nose into things. And a possibility of a Nikita Lyons Obafemi union, which I think might come into play at Halloween Havoc. I think there's a possibility with Oba going to try to get the belt back. He might bring his queen out.
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious? Man, I'm bringing out all the Dr. Umar quotes.
Man.
Donations, gifts, donations, booty.
Hey, yo.
Brothers, we must stay focused. All right.
Indeed. Yeah, man. All right.
So that.
But yeah, there was a lot went on, and all of it moved things forward, which is what NXT is very good at. And I enjoyed the segment. And yeah. All right.
Okay. So most importantly, right?
Hey, Faxium was involved in it too, man. And they're always entertaining. Funny dudes.
That's crazy.
Love that they're getting everybody involved. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But here's one thing, right? So let's get to the meat and potatoes of NXT. So obviously we had the newcomers, the no offense, but I call their faction ESL. English is second language. Because neither are speaking English at all. But Julia and Stephanie Vaquer fought Fatal Influence.
Man, I need
that part. I was gonna say before I talk about them, Delta, formerly known as Delta, now Zarya.
Yeah.
How do you, D-Lo, if I can get to you, How do you feel about the way they did that debut, considering that after they showed her, immediately
I love
ended the program?
Cliffhanger. It made me think of Cliffhanger, like the end of a movie. I was like, I loved it. It was a cliffhanger. I loved every moment. Because I ain't never seen her. I never heard. I've heard of her because of she coming here, but I never seen her ain't even matches. So it makes like it's a
Big
cliffhanger.
Big
Like
Aussie wrestler. If you look up Delta, and there's
check out.
plenty. But
Check out. But
Plenty of matches of her beating up men.
I'm gonna check out. But like I said, it was like for like people that aren't like hip to her, like or like on the internet like that watching wrestling. For people that don't know, it was like, who's this girl? Like, why they put away like that? Why they do it like quick? Why she all intimidating in the dark? They went away like that to the news. So it was like it's kind of like that. That's how I felt. It was cool. It was cool ending.
if I could, I'll say real quick, and then I'll kick it to Keith. I'd say it's losing its steam because we're getting so many reveals. It's almost getting ridiculous. It's starting to be like, okay, we just got Julia, and then during Julia and Roxanne's thing, we just got Stephanie Vicaire, and then Cora Jade comes back, and then now we have this brand new woman that most people don't know because she's in the Australian circuit. And after a while, like, does Julia look shiny anymore?
Mm,
Does anybody really care about anybody else going on in the women's division aside from those three, those four, if when they're starting to put them on a pedestal? Keith, how do you feel about that? The pedestalization and the
Okay.
overly dramatic debuts and such.
Well, I will say that what D'Lo said is spot on. Like, it's a way to get people who have no idea who she is interested. Because honestly, she made no statement. She
Right.
could be there just to like scout in general or to help the heels, help the baby faces. We have no idea. You know what I mean? So it was, and then for the people who do know who she is and you have seen how powerful she is and how good she is, it's the same effect, but maybe a little more heightened. Um, as far as the pedal, put, dude, I'm not going to try to say the word you said. As far as putting them on a pedestal, um,
Pedestalization.
that's it. Yeah,
It's a
man.
difficult
I
word. I'm
mean,
not gonna lie.
not going to try, dude. That's like a tongue twister right there in the middle. Um, but I think that they do a good job of making the other women. Yeah, thanks. Other women look credible. Um, I think they do a good job of making the other women look credible. Red Sinclair, her match with Stephanie was competitive. Ren got to show her stuff. Um, dude, I legitimately half expected Fatal Influence to win. Like, that's how good JC Jane and Fallon Henley are, and that's how well they acquitted themselves in that match. I thought maybe they'd send them into Halloween Havoc on a loss, just to throw some doubt into what the finish was going to be. And they made me believe it. Sal Ruka gave her best outing. I've never seen her that good against Carmen. She had a lot more fluidity than she usually has. So I think that even if right now the new girls are the main focus and Roxanne and Cora, they do a good job of showcasing all their women in what, in my opinion, I know you disagree with this slightly, but what, in my opinion, is the best women's division in wrestling.
But NXT?
Yeah.
Well, I consider, because TNA
right,
as the
you
second best. I would say now TNA is the second best because of Zarya.
Fair.
But they're kind of connected, so it's the embarrassment of riches when it comes to the women's division down there.
Yeah. The fact that NXT just did a show, a 2-hour show, where I think there was one match involving men, right? Is that correct? The Open Femi match, right? And it was awesome. It was entertaining. It was
That's
great
true.
Oh, there
wrestling.
was a
from
tag
top to
match.
bottom.
Sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, so 2 matches in 2 hours though, and all the rest was women. That is just. Oh yeah, Hank and the Tank. That match was fire, by the way. Hank and the Tank can move. Holy crap, those guys are
Yes, they
kinetic.
can. They're
Good
very good.
lord. Yeah.
It's a good angle for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
The women wrestling is on a rise. We've talked about it so much on this podcast. And NXT, despite having women in the spotlight and who are clearly the top women, I think does a great job of making everyone look good, and having a place for them.
If I could, D'Lo, you hadn't spoken about it, but we had a whole episode about the women's revolution, not necessarily revolution, but their evolution into being probably the best thing on NXT, best thing on TNA, they doing well. How do you feel about the crop of ladies that we have in all of these? We said unanimously that NXT pretty much WWE.
For TNA, I've seen TNA, but like more of the old episodes on Pluto. But like from what I've seen, I still like it. I remember they still had Jordan Gray. She's been lit. I know she's been killing it and still doing her thing. Tasha Steele, she was Kara Hogan. Then I like her. I remember she had a match with Deonna Purrazzo. I saw it was really good. Everybody put me on her. I was a singles girl. I was like, okay, I like it.
Don't get me started on TNA, man.
Hey, they deep. They always been deep ever since like from the days when Gail Kim was there and Lawson Khan. They always had women lit over there. Mickey James too. They always was lit. So I'm not surprised. They always was consistent. NXT, ever since they kind of went to this new way of trying to recruit, they've been finding ways and finding talent and finding athletes, and then and they brought the personalities to the mix and bringing themselves in the mix. That's why people rocking with them, because they're like, it's a new breed. We got new ladies and it's variety, diversity. Like not just this like different ethnicities and whatnot. So
and the skill level is so much higher.
Right. That's why they wanted to get athletes. That's why they went recruiting for like soccer girls, gymnastics,
Lola Vice, other MMA fighters, gymnasts like Casey, Katana Chance, I think her name is now.
Yeah.
Too. Right. So
Sol Ruka, all of them.
Right. So they want a new crop of ladies. It's like we need some athletes. We can show them the wrestling. We just need some coordination from y'all. When y'all can do it, good. And that's why they got the deep roster. And I love it. Shit. I think the next evolution is for them to have blood rivalries, man, like a Drew and a Punk type of blood rivalry, like them fighting. That's like the next evolution of this step, because it's now
the Don and Obi Femi are moving towards that, and Chase U. You know what I mean? There's hatred going on there,
like pure
breaking up families. Yeah.
Well, Oba, just to get to that,
Lola and Jada, a little bit Lola and Jada. They're speaking.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I was gonna say, to get to that, Oba brutalized the D'Angelo family, and it's setting up for, and we're going to get into it a little bit because I want to make sure that we get to at least one of these pay-per-views that are coming up.
Oh yeah,
definitely at least 2.
Yeah.
But Halloween Havoc is the rematch, so it looks like they were getting ready for that, and I will use that to ferry to the card.
Yeah.
But I would also like, at first, if Keith, if you want to go over, do you know much about what happened, or what happened last SmackDown?
Oh, I don't know what happened last SmackDown, but I did have a couple NXT thoughts real quick, if I could.
I'll give that, and then I'll give a little bit of a crash course on the SmackDown. I mean,
all right, cool. So I do want to say, first of all, it was a losing effort, and Obafemi clearly dominated, but the lawyer from the D'Angelo family acquitted himself very well. That kid is athletic. Oh my Lord, man. He, so I wanted to make sure that I said that geez, like the stuff that he was doing in that ring. I also I enjoy the D'Angelo family, Obafemi, and the Ridge Holland Chase U thing, but I feel almost like they're the same story. I feel like it's possible that Rizzo faked getting taken out and that she's going to help Obafemi win because nobody saw the attack. We've talked before, which, man, please don't let it be true, that Thea Hale may betray Chase U
Yeah, and
and
go with
go with
Ridge.
Ridge.
I want
Um,
it. I want to
it's
see a
it's
heel turn.
running it's running parallel. You know what I mean? They're doing almost the same thing. So I wish there was a little bit more variety in those two storylines. It would be insane if they both end up with the females turning. Like that would just like that'd be a complete lack of creativity. The
All
other
for it.
thing, the other thing that I want to say is if Fatal Influence does not choose to have a 3-on-1 handicap match for the NXT Women's North American title, then they are idiots.
Yeah.
Right.
If I could also mention, this is something that's very important. Who heard the Ego Ethan Page rap song?
I did.
What are we thinking?
Oh, man.
He was low key sweating.
Yeah, a little bit. He had some bars. I'm not gonna lie. He was
okay.
he made a reference to his Trick's failed football career. I guess he mentioned he was out here spitting. You know, this is the year of the diss
Now, is
tracks.
this on Spotify? Can I check this out somewhere?
Actually, I looked. I don't know. I don't. Maybe
All right, right on.
I would definitely check a little later because I want to listen to it again. But I think I saw it on Facebook. But he had a video and everything. He had a feature. You know, he obviously Trick has done
I
this
like the
too. He
chorus.
did the whole Butch thing where he made a song about Pete Dunne and it was funny, but then the ego kind of shot back at him. I think it's good little precursor to what we're gonna get. But SmackDown, I want to mention two things about that, right? So breaking the fourth wall. This is Friday, so we don't have an idea of what happened yet, but we do know what's going to be happening. It's Carmelo versus Andrade 7.
What? They're wrestling again?
Yes, for the 7th time, and they finally embrace the fact that they're doing 50-50 booking.
Nice.
But that's tonight. For the most part, I would say that I love both. I like Andrade more.
Right.
But why are we getting it a 7th time?
Right.
Why did we give it a 5th time? Why did we give it a 3rd time?
This should have ended that, honestly.
Yeah.
This should have been that.
Yeah. So there was a best of 7 series in ECW, right? I can't remember who it was between. I feel like Rob Van Dam and someone had a best of 7 series. And then WCW did the best of 7 with Booker T and Chris Benoit. And a lot of people credit that with elevating both of those guys to where people looked at them as main event guys. And then people have tried to recreate that a few times with other best of 7 series, but I feel like it just falls flat. It feels like you're just trying to do like it's magic. You know what I mean? What Chris Benoit and Booker T did was magic.
If I could, right? Yeah. So yeah, Andrade is one of the greatest technical wrestlers, you know, and I've been watching him since La Sombra. And then Melo is real athletic. He's got real good bounce to him. And thing is, though, I feel like this isn't Vince McMahon's WWE anymore, where we just take the NXT guys and we're like, oh, I'm just gonna pretend like whatever they didn't even matter. You know, they're both former two-time NXT champions. I don't think we need to showcase how good they are anymore. Right. I get exactly what you're saying because, yeah, I do remember that Booker T has been why. I do remember, you know, the RVD. I'm trying to think about it. Was it Kidman?
It has to be Jerry Lynn.
I was like,
Oh yeah, it was RVD and Jerry Lynn. Thank you, man.
Oh, it was?
RVD
Oh,
and Jerry
okay.
Lynn had the best of seven. Thank you, man. Yeah,
I was
you're
wondering
right,
if it was
brother.
one that was
You're
in
right.
SmackDown.
You're right.
All right.
Yeah.
Because they always talk about that rivalry a lot. So I'm like,
Yeah, there you go. It was. It was RVD and Jerry Lynn had a best of seven. Thank you, man. I
But
completely
how many
forgot.
weeks was it? Because this has been like consecutive
Months.
weeks.
Yeah, I think they stretched it out. You know, they wrestled other people. They didn't just the same with Benoit and Booker T. They didn't just wrestle each other for 7 weeks in a row.
I'd say that's
Rick
my point with
Martel.
it, though.
Rick Martel was in the mix with that. You know what I mean? And Rick Martel contributed to that whole feud. I mean, so yeah, the way they're doing it, where it's just 7 matches, bam, 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 bam. It's too samey. Like it's just
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
So let me mention real quick. I'll mention what happened on SmackDown, and then kind of a little bit of a precursor of what's going to happen later, and then I'll mention these pay-per-views or PLEs or whatever they're called.
Are we gonna talk about AEW?
Oh my goodness, are we gonna talk about? I don't know if I want Tony to come after me.
Man, he be all right.
Getting so sensitive.
Yeah,
he be all right. What they just celebrated.
So obviously, Jey Uso had that confrontation with Solo, which led to the, what happened on Friday, him on Monday losing the title. DIY and Street Profits technically beat Pretty Deadly at the same time, both pinning each, but only one person is actually the legal man. So it was kind of weird, but they just wanted to do a triple threat. We've seen this in WWE so many times where we've just had like a F finish where it's just like, oh, we'll give them a reason to fight each other.
Right.
Jada Parker, no, I'm sorry, Jada Parker. I'm sorry. Lash Legend beating Piper Niven, being extremely powerful and just showing off why they're facing Jade and Bianca.
Love it.
Cody Rhodes' promo, doing his thing. MCMG's debut.
I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked that they even went there. I never thought they'd even go there.
Motor City Machine Guns.
Especially like they're pushing 50, man.
Sure.
So that's
Well, remember we spoke about the fact that we thought that, or at least I thought that they'd be good in NXT.
Yeah.
Because they'd be able to do the enhancement where they could face Fraxium, they could face a bunch of other
Hank and
possible.
Hank and Tank. Yeah,
Hank and Tank. You could face Metaphor maybe if one of them actually wants to fight, but
no,
I would
Cat's
say.
Club.
Oh, I was gonna say we had a Candice LeRae, the most random tag match, Nia and Candice against Bailey and Naomi.
That is odd.
And then we had Roman once again taking a beating because he doesn't want to wrestle. So two things I want to mention of this that I think take a bit more of a more importance, right? In my eyes. Maybe we already know about the Jey Uso Solo Sikoa, and that would have been it if we didn't already talk about it. But MCMG, we've spoken to in length. Where do you think they go? Because apparently it was a number 1 contenders match. Do you think they win it this early?
Oh man! So
I'll go with
first of all, I think physically they looked amazing. They looked better than they did when they were in their 20s. Like those guys have kept themselves in amazing shape. They still look young in the face. If you told somebody they were in their 40s, like I don't think people would believe it.
Considering that they were facing wrestlers in their 20s.
Yeah, for sure.
Facing Garza and A-Town Down Under.
Right.
Those guys are young.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
I mean, I don't see the point of pushing them right into the title picture if they're not going to win the belts.
Right.
Because then you lose all the value, unless the point is just to make the bloodline look completely unbeatable. Like we brought in these TNA legends and they can't beat the bloodline, So I guess it depends on which direction they want to go.
D'Lo, if I could get a quick word on that one, you get the same amount of time as him, but
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's if let me pose something to you? Do you feel like it's too quick?
It was quick to put him in this. I was slowing him down, but I was trying to keep it for. I hope they make it for like if they're going to have the belts, it has to be like a big event. Like I think Saturday main event, I could see if that's the only way I could see maybe they can pull it off then. But
Mhm.
I hope you're going to keep them up. If you're going to have them lose to the bloodline, like it'll be kind of like Keith said, it'll be waste of time. But I asked them on meet to the division. But I mean, I like the match as it was. Like I was surprised that he was still there. And are you and the tag match between Nia and Candice? I was very surprised, and I'm now and seeing like Indies are embracing. And then Candice there like to be healers, so seeing like that.
Yeah, because they've had a story about how Candice wants her to be, how wants Indy to be heel. I do like the fact that they harkened back to
Yeah, so
something
like,
that people might not have even remembered that they were doing a little bit ago.
yeah, because he was out. They was away for a little minute. He went on TV, but then he brought
Yeah.
it back. It was like, yo,
Well, there's so much to put on TV, especially when, and I'm going to bring this up, the bloodline is dominating both sides.
yeah,
And I feel like the fact that we're getting Jey Uso on I know that the gimmick was on Raw that Solo bought a ticket, but let's be honest, they've been on Friday. There's no brand split anymore.
Yeah.
It only,
yeah.
it only, it only is for the champions unless you're part of the bloodline because Jey Uso is hopping around more than me fresh out of college. Like, if I'm being honest, it's oversaturation of Jimmy or Jay, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I understand you're good at it. But I'd like to talk about this, right? So what I think is going to happen is that Solo, because tonight, obviously, I imagine Jey Uso is going to have a point of contention with what happened on Monday. What do we think happens next for the Bloodline? What do we think as far as like which direction do you think they go? Because we've all watched wrestling so long that it's almost formulaic how they do these certain things. Do we find there to be is there going to be a deception? Is there going to be a new player added? Because it looks like War Games they're setting up for, and then Jimmy, Jay, and Roman are going to be together, but it's not necessarily a guarantee that Solo is going to be on the other side. If I'm being honest. So where do we think the bloodline goes from, because obviously they're putting so much into this right now. They're on both Monday and Fridays. So where do you think this leads to?
Well, if you don't mind, real quick, I have one more thing to say about them pushing the machine guns into the title picture so fast.
Oh, no, that's fine. Yes.
There were people who were unironically asking if Alex Shelley was Evan Bourne. They thought that they had brought Evan Bourne back in a tag team. There are people who are, I mean, if you look at the numbers for TNA compared to the numbers for WWE, they're not even close. There are people who have no idea, even though the Machine Guns are one of the best tag teams in the world and have been for well over a decade. Their matches with Age of the Fall, their matches with Influence, you know what I mean, are just insane. But there are people who don't know who they are.
Not only that, I don't know if they know Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin were both singles champions not even 2 years ago.
Right.
Like recently,
They have
Alex
taken
Shelley,
break.
I think,
Alex Shelley retired for a little while. They have taken breaks from the team. So
it's a renaissance period for them, and now they're doing what they were always meant to do. I remember waking up and watching on Spike TV at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern, watching Motor City Machine Guns on TNA. Facing Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles or something like that. And,
I just feel like they should have given them a little bit more of a lead in instead of just assuming that everyone was going to know who they are and everyone was going to be psyched to see them. when I saw people legitimately like excited that Evan Bourne was back,
That's damn.
it's like this might not have been the
Yeah.
best move, you
What's
know?
his name now? Is it PJ? Or is that
Oh,
Justin
does Evan
Gabriel
Bourne have a
became
new name?
PJ? I thought he rebranded.
No,
Well,
yeah, Matt Seidel. Yeah,
his shoot
started-
is Matt Seidel.
yeah.
So I think he probably just went back to using his real name.
Yeah, okay. That's
Yeah.
what I was mixing. I kind of mixed up him and I mixed up Evan Bourne and
Just incredible.
Gabriel. Justin Gabriel.
Oh, Justin Gabriel. Yeah, yeah.
He
TJ
became-
something or other,
He
right? Or
became PJ Black, yeah.
Yeah. PJ Black. Yeah.
He reinvented himself really well too. But
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, SmackDown tonight will probably just be more bloodline and then a bit of
Yeah. As far as where the bloodline goes,
the tag champion number one
Yeah.
container matches. I
I
had to
think
throw that in there.
I think that, the first bloodline storyline lasted how long? Like 5 years?
about 3 years. 4 years.
Yeah, 3 years. So I think trying to predict where this is going to go would be like trying to predict what the weather's going to be in 2028.
Yeah.
Because this there could be no end in sight. You know what I mean? Like this could be going on for a while now. So
Just
Yeah.
like our conversations can go for forever.
indeed, try to
But
keep it
Lord
around
knows,
2 hours.
I want
so
to-
okay.
So I want to get to AEW, but they seem to be so out of nowhere that I don't even know what they're doing.
I mean, yeah.
You know, we had a
We
lot of
talked
weird
about
stuff happen.
Britt and Adam. I mean,
Mhm. But as far as what it's happening in the ring and all of that, it doesn't seem very cohesive.
right.
I saw a whole bunch of people that are barely on TV trying to they look like they're doing a rebellion angle.
Right.
The YT Combat Club. So I call
Where have I heard something like that before?
the
YTC?
WTCC.
Oh man. Well,
Oh,
you're
man.
not wrong though. I'm not gonna lie. It's
That's hilarious.
They
But
all be
who-
they all matching their uniforms. The YT. Oh,
Well, remember
I
the
think
the black t-shirt squad back in the day? Mike Quackenbush and Don Montoya and
that is
Reckless
a
Youth.
reference.
Yeah, black t-shirt squad, baby. Running the indies.
Hell yeah, WTCC.
That's
man.
hilarious.
I honestly
They gotta come out. They gotta come out to them franchise boys. They got to one time. Come out.
Or freaking, what's the 3-6 Mafia song, dude?
Oh,
the Mark Henry one?
No, 3-6 Mafia has a song about white t-shirts. I can't think of what it is off the top of my head, man. It's years ago. But
Leonard's hard.
Oh man.
Man,
Do
they
we want to
got.
get into do we
Or
want to
the
get a little
Lunatics?
bit of AEW?
Say Lunatics,
Oh
We'll get
yeah.
a
That's
little
good.
bit.
spinning
We'll
around
get-
my head like a helicopter. Yeah. I mean, sure, yeah.
Yeah, we go for the sake of.
MJF is Tully Blanchard, right?
Oh,
Catching
That's
massages and stuff.
Oh,
a little
Smooth
bit.
operator. Like,
Who did see I do like Dynamite, I like
Yeah.
watching
Mhm.
and so this is what happened on Dynamite. We'll get through this and then Sammy Guevara fought Shelton Benjamin.
mm,
His childhood hero.
wow.
That's a
Yeah, they
That's
had
a-
a picture of them together, like it's me and Sean together. Like, oh my god.
I like when they did that with the MJF CM Punk thing, and I kind of like when they did that with this.
Jericho and Shawn Michaels, too.
Cool.
And let's not pretend that Shelton Benjamin isn't 50 years old.
No,
Right.
he's so
Just 'cause
cool.
he
This
looks like
man
he's
is
20.
in. I'm trying to work out. I'm doing pretty well. I'm trying to work out to look like him.
Yeah.
Like my goodness, the
Yeah.
things that he can do at 50.
The gold
He
standard.
makes other 50-year-olds look like they're like, what are you doing with your life?
Look like me.
Speaking of 50-year-olds, we did have a ladder war between Fozzie's lead singer, aka Victim from Terrifier 3, Chris Jericho,
He's
against
got another horror movie coming out next year, too.
Yes, actually, I seen that. It's a wrestling themed one.
It is, yeah. Yep.
We will mention that at some
Hmm.
point.
Nice.
And
For
then
sure.
we also had the Elite against Daniel Garcia and Private Party, which is
Eh,
a little bit of pushing of Private Party, which as an
eh.
Yeah.
HOG guy, I like it. Or
Well,
HOG
about
fan.
time. About time.
How do we feel about Chris Jericho being the Nueve?
I knew this coming.
I
Yo,
mean,
Rock should have let
he
that
spent a
shit
lot of time in
alone, yo.
Mexico, man. You know.
He should have let that alone when he beat him, yo. But he had to go up for his bro. But one my thing was, why didn't Ishii come out before Big Bill chokeslam
Didn't make
Mark
sense.
Briscoe? I was like, because I heard Pitbull, I was like, I thought it was Suzuki at first, and then I see Ishii, I was like, oh. Why
Maybe
ain't come
they'll
out then?
maybe they'll talk about the fact that because of the Blackpool Combat Club that they were distracted or something. Who knows? But yeah, I thought it was weird too. They're both part of stables, but only one actually out.
That's weird.
They had like 30 heads for the White Tee Combat Club posted out front. Think they was gonna do something. I'm like,
Just to go around them. It made them look so bad. I'm not gonna lie. It made everybody else look like a buffoon.
Low key, I didn't.
And apparently, so that's another big thing that I didn't mention, but apparently they chose their next target. They chose producer Chuck Taylor.
Yeah.
That's from Chuck E.
And
T.
Chuck E. T. is the way to be.
Yeah.
And then they also were beating up on everybody's Tony Khan's favorite main eventer, Orange Cassidy.
Oh,
They freshly squeezed him on the mat.
So sounds dirty.
Why though? What did Cassidy do to become the victim of John Moxley's attacks? You know, the ire of his eye. Like why? Keith, if you could,
because I guess because they need somebody to challenge him for the belt. You know, I don't know. Orange Cassidy, like you just said, he's Tony Khan's favorite main eventer. So,
does he move the needle as a champion? Like, are they even trying at this point to find somebody for John Moxley?
I think they're sticking with John Moxley, but his whole unpredictable, chaotic energy thing, they'll give Orange Cassidy a reason to fight him. Maybe the character switches. You know how he can do that. He can turn the switch, and one minute he doesn't give a crap, and then the next minute he's fired up. So
pretty much. D'Lo, how do you feel?
I think that's just how it's going to go.
I would say also is this hurting the AEW roster or is it making it better?
Push. Neither.
Yeah. I feel like there's.
I feel like we don't have anything to say about AEW.
All right, let me know.
I know. To be honest, I could get off on a rant about how unimportant it seems to talk about AEW, considering that I'm not interested.
Right.
In a lot of what they got going on.
Right.
They're taking a bit. Bobby Lashley being there at some point might push the needle for me, because then you have somebody to fight Moxley.
True. I would say this for Orange Cassidy and Mox. I think he's calling out Cassidy first because he sees that he ain't changed in 5 years. He's still the same dude. So I think that's why it's hard to him. From that perspective.
I agree exactly. You know, he
you've been doing the same shit for 5 years. You ain't turned bad, you ain't turned good, you ain't turned whatever. You just change your theme song. And
well, that's the thing about him though. He's indifferent. He's just like,
that's why it's hard to him for that one.
But I do also believe that that's why he's going after him, because he's like, why are you so lax? Why don't you want to?
Why don't you want more?
Yeah, why don't you want more for us, more for you?
Yeah,
you're just part of a happy family faction of nobodies. Like, no offense to the conglomeration, but it's probably the silliest faction I've ever seen, because you don't even know who's in it, and they're barely ever together.
Come over here, Orange, and get you a white tee. Come to the club. Come on,
with me and the white tees.
Oh man,
Pat guy rocking chain or something. Pat guy rock one of them big old Flavor Flav chains. One of them things. He got to.
He should lean into the pack.
Right.
Look more and more like Tupac every day.
Like you need to lean more than that. That's what I was saying.
So I'm saying until Bobby Lashley gets there, I would like there to be more. I'm not interested in Jericho winning the ROH World Championship because the ROH World Championship doesn't mean what it used to mean to
Right.
me anymore. It seems like a prop,
Mm.
and
Let's
they're
see.
just passing around props. And
Yeah.
and I think ROH Championship deserves more. I think Jay Briscoe deserves more. Rest in
Yeah.
peace. But it's just being passed around, and
That's
it's
crazy.
Jericho's not going to make it seem any more important than it already is, which
Right.
Yeah, the hell y'all watch ROH? I never got a chance to ever try to
Man, I
watch.
watched ROH back in the day. I loved it.
I thought they were
Back
good,
then.
Yeah.
Nigel McGuinness made a
Oh man.
Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
I remember Nigel McGuinness cutting a promo on his different contenders. And the whole thing was about how none of them could get laid. He went off about how each one of them was less attractive than he was, basically. And then when he got to Claudio, he was like, Claudio Castagnoli, he's tall, he's good looking, he's a good wrestler, but he's a bit bald on the top, isn't he? And it
A
was
bit.
freaking
A bit.
funny, dude. Like
That's funny.
yeah, it was good stuff, man. But he started out with Daniel Bryan saying, Daniel Bryan's a virgin, right? Like it was hilarious, dude. It all came back to whether they could get chicks. So
But it's funny. It also shows that if you put AEW and NXT next to each other, that's why one of
yeah,
them had to move.
yeah,
I do want to get into so the big thing is happening. There are two, one that I really like, and then another that everybody should be interested in because
yeah.
NXT is the developmental of the best company for wrestling that exists.
Yeah.
So NXT Halloween Havoc. They've brought it back.
Yes,
There's
sir.
gonna be plenty of gimmick matches, plenty of costumes, a lot of fun stuff, right?
Yeah,
Spooky things.
So I want to mention these four specific matches that are going to be on that card. So there is an ambulance match against the Ridge the Crippler Holland and Andre Chase. And the winner is not going to go into an ambulance and be wheeled to the hospital. So just get a quick say of who we think is going to win that. D-Lo, who do you think is going to win between Ridge Holland and a newly revitalized Andre Chase?
I'm going Mr. Chase because Duke is going to come and help win for the school, for the U.
Do you think Thea Hale is going to make an appearance and do what I suspected they would do?
I was thinking of that, but it's not a bad idea. But I don't think would you keep them together? Would you keep Ridge and Thea together after that? Or would you let them?
Personally, I would like her to be on his shoulder, and they just be the weird couple that are just slimy and mean. And Ridge Holland could get a North American Championship match, maybe.
Nah, I don't know about that because he did say he does have a daughter. He gives vibes of a daughter, so it gotta be parentally type of vibe.
Oh, you ever play BioShock?
I've played once.
You ever seen the Big Daddies and then the little girls would be on their shoulder?
Oh yeah.
Kind of like the Alexa Braun Strowman type thing.
Yeah, something like that. That could work in that way.
That's what I see. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. I'll give mine. I think Andre Chase because this is the whole reason why Ridge Holland has been destroying them to make them look good. Keith, how do you feel?
Okay, so first of all, despite the fact that Thea Hale and Ridge Holland physically, that looks awesome. Like just the size difference, and if Thea Hale turns on Chase U, I actually might cry. That's how invested I am. That's how invested I am in Chase U, dude. I legitimately might cry.
It's the Beauty and the Beast angle, you know?
Yeah.
Like she falls for his beast.
Ugh, I hope not. I'm going to go with Andre Chase too, though, because I think it's his time to actually show what he can do as a wrestler. The dude has been wrestling in a sweater for years. He needs some. He needs some thank you for
I
that,
want
because that's
I
an
want him to
accomplishment.
I want him to rip the
Rip the
sweater
sweater
off.
off.
Show
Yeah,
an 8-pack.
yeah, man. I mean, dude, he's not in bad shape. He's just lanky. Like, if you ever saw any of his indie stuff, I mean, he's not. He's not scrawny. He's just really long. So,
Yeah, I can see
Hey
this.
yo.
yeah.
Hey yo.
But
All
yeah,
right,
I'm going with Andre Chase, man, and
all right,
hopefully
so
it does not turn.
3 for Andre Chase. All right, if you're keeping track at home. All right, next one. There was 5. I lied. There were 5 matches.
Okay.
Tag team match. The best women's tag team in the world. Roxanne and Cora Jade against newcomers, aforementioned ESL, Julia and Stephanie Vicaire.
I need to learn Spanish 3.
Spanish and Japanese. Anyway,
Arigato gozaimasu.
dude. So I'm gonna go with Cora and Roxanne and say that Delta interferes on their behalf and becomes like their monster.
Okay.
That's
interesting.
I like the swerve. D'Lo, who do you think wins in this tag match of the probably these two are the best women's teams we have?
I'm going with Stephanie and Julia. They're gonna get the dub, and Stephanie's gonna pin Rox.
Ooh, okay. I like the specificity.
They're gonna like really hone in on next contender.
All right. I personally think that Cora, she's the fall woman in this. And I think Julia beats her because there's been too much emphasis on Stephanie Vicaire, and I think Vicaire got the last pin. So I think Julia beats Cora, but we're 2-1. 2 of us think Julia, 1 thinks Roxanne. I personally think it can go either way.
Yeah.
But I think you can't give the newcomers this loss and Roxanne loses nothing losing. Except the match, obviously.
I think you can if you do shenanigans, and just like when Cora came out and helped. I think you can if you do shenanigans, you use it to introduce Delta as a force, and it still progresses the storyline. But that's just me.
All right. Yeah. So we'll go to the mid-card NXT Women's title, the North American Championship. It was Spinner's Choice. That's what it was called, but it's Kalani Jordan, the champion, versus Fallon Henley, JC Jane, or Jasmine Nix.
And or.
So what do we think? You had already mentioned. So I'll just say that Keith thinks that it's going to be a 3-on-1, which I think is a really good idea. And they just share the title, maybe?
Yeah.
I'll say that we get some. I don't even know if there'd be anybody that would want to run in on Fatal Attraction aside from the people that they just fought, but they're fighting in the one before. So I think it'll be Fallon Henley, and I think she wins.
She's the best wrestler out of the crew, I think.
That's how I feel. No disrespect to Jasmine Nix or JC Jane, but D'Lo, how do you feel about the?
I'll say the same thing. Fallon gonna be the one that be the step up, but they gonna do, I think, falls count anyway, so they can interfere and help their girl get the win. That's that type of fashion. So I go Fallon for the dub.
Okay, I think they might make it just a plain old fatal 4-way.
See that,
to be honest, and then it would really just be a 3-way, and then they just rock paper scissors for who gets the title. In a perfect world. So next one is going to be the aforementioned North American Championship. It's called Tables, Ladders, and Scares match. I don't know what the scares are, but I obviously know what the tables and ladders are. The Tony D'Angelo, the champion, against uh Wakanda's very own Obafemi.
Oh.
Oh. So who do we think? I'm taking Oba with the help of Thickums.
Yeah.
Thakita Lyons is going to booty bump one of them into oblivion.
Nah, you can't let her do that. She might pull something.
That hey, oft injured.
Somebody will pull something.
Oft injured people are oft injured. So that's my take. I think Oba gets it back. Tony D'Angelo can move on and they can join the factions on SmackDown.
Yeah, I agree.
So Oba for you as well?
I think Tony keeps. I
Cody
think
keeps? Okay.
Somehow, some crazy fashion, Rizzo will be kind of reason why Oba loses. In a weird way. I don't know how, but like distractions of things. And the kid tries to come and say that, and then his boys, they do something and they take over Femi out. Some crazy shenanigans. Yeah. I'm going to go with Tony D retaining.
All right. We are not unanimous on anything but the first one. And the last one, the hopefully the passing of the torch, because I'd like one of these, whoever loses, I'd like to go to the main roster immediately. Yeah. And I think they've already played with the fact that Trick Williams is coming back coming to the main event to Raw or SmackDown because they've already showed him in the crowd. But Devil's Playground match against Ethan Page. So Trick Williams versus Ethan Page, Devil's Playground match, which Ethan Page's, that's his shtick because he gives off that he's the devil, all ego.
Right.
Pride is of the devil, so that's what they're getting at. Who do you think wins? I will go to D-Lo first, and then
we're gonna whoop thine trick. Whoop thine trick.
Whoopeth. All right. Whoop that trick. So Trick wins in D-Lo's eyes. All right. And then Keith, what do you think?
I mean, I think it's going to be bloody and brutal and fun, and Trick is going to win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think Ethan Page.
Oh, I thought he was going to be there.
Because I really think it's more important to bring Trick. I think this is just maybe something happens, maybe somebody comes in, I don't know. But I believe that Ethan Page in his element, you can't beat the devil at his own game, you know what I'm saying? And I think it'll be him and Ethan could go to the main roster, but Trick is the one that needs to get the bump. And we need to make sure that we're actually remembering that it is a developmental. They need to be brought up. You need a promotion at some point if you're that good, and he's that good.
Right.
So that's what I think. That's the Halloween Havoc card. We all might be dead wrong, or we might be right. Who knows? The point is that it's a story, and we got to figure, see what the coolest things are. And I think Obafemi is the biggest thing coming out of this, and he should have the NXT championship, but I think he can wait. He can wait until the main event.
Stand at 11, tricking Oba. Stand at 11.
So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this because I am the resident TNA guy. I don't know if anybody else watches TNA between us.
I'm trying to watch it. They're on Twitch still, right?
We gotta get this quick though, because we're on live radio and we're getting the signal to wrap up, guys.
Oh yeah. So I'll mention it really fast. It would be Josh Alexander against Steve Macklin.
I know both. Josh Alexander wins.
Yeah.
Were you unanimous?
Yeah, I'm going with Josh Alexander. Yeah,
right.
For sure.
Battle of former champions, Moose against Mike Santana.
Moose. Quick. Yeah.
Santana for me.
Okay.
I would TNA Knockouts Tag Team Championship, Spitfire against Rosemary and Wendy Chu, the TNA NXT mix.
Who in Spitfire? Is it on
Danny Luna, and Jody Threat.
Spitfire.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Spitfire to be safe.
Yeah,
I like Rosemary. Yo, she look like Pink now. She dead as
I like her too. But I think Spitfire retains, and then Ash by Elegance and Heather Reckless go after
Dana
them.
Brooke.
Woo!
Yeah. Formerly known as Dana Brooke. They're now a thing, apparently.
Yeah.
Wait,
They're gonna be fighting.
Who's she going against?
Or no, she's in a tag team with Heather Reckless. So
yeah, she took Heather Reckless under her arm, and now they're going against Brynley Reese, and somebody else that they tried to do a makeover.
Oh shit!
Really is cutie.
Big one. Mm-hmm.
Probably the most athletic match of the night. TNA X Division Mike Cornball Bailey against El Hijo de Vikingo. Who do you think wins?
I need a counter.
Bailey.
I'm going Bailey.
I'm going Vikingo. I don't think he never loses.
Right on.
Digital Media Championship / International Heavyweight Championship. Monsters Ball. PCO against Matt Cardona. Who wins?
That's a wide imagine.
I'm not picking that, dude.
That's a wild mess, isn't it?
Wait,
I'm not picking that.
PCO, the Walking Dead man against internet sensation Matt Cardona.
Yeah, I'm not picking.
I'm gonna say PCO.
With help from his wife, I think so as well.
Sure.
Even though Cardona, that's
she helping.
Steph DeLander is
yeah.
Oh yeah, I know her. She's doing kind of good, but nah, I'm gonna go with PCO. He's crazy.
I'm calling a Chelsea Green sighting.
Nice.
So next one, World Tag Team Championships. I hope the Hardys don't win it. I'm sorry to say. Full Metal Mayhem 3-way, Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers, the System against ABC and the Hardys. Who wins? System? Yeah.
Who's the System the name of
Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers. Yeah, and then they also have Moose, JDC, Alicia Edwards, aka
Any bitch. Oh yeah,
Moose. Yeah,
Edward. I'm gonna go with the System. They'll return.
Mm-hmm. Part of me thinks the Hardys because 3-way matches and the Hardys. I hope not either.
That's the thing.
Oh, it's 3 teams. It's 3 teams.
Yeah, it's 3 teams. ABC, which is Ace Austin and Chris Bay, formerly known as Bullet Club.
Oh shit, I know them. Oh, I know them.
And they're great. They're great.
Yeah, I remember Ace Austin I remember like 2019. I was watching TNA. He was making his debut, so I was like, oh,
yeah, Ace Austin's good. He's talented.
The belting glasses, yeah. Okay, best women's match of the entire year. Jordan Grace against Masha Slamovich Championship. Who wins?
Masha.
I'll say Masha too. I've seen her.
Getting Jordan a contract somewhere else where she can make some big money.
Masha, because her and Jonathan are leaving. Jonathan Gresham just got beat up by Josh Alexander too, which looks like it's a going away. All right, last one and probably the most important match of the entire year. Nick Nemeth against Joe Hendry for the championship. Special referee Kazarian.
What?
I believe in Joe Hendry.
What in the sad heck?
Joe Hendry wins.
Stop it, Joe Hendry.
Joe Hendry has his moment, dude.
Finally has the moment. In Joe Hendry.
Man, WCPW legend turning to motherfucking TNA motherfucking WWE stuff. Oh, that man.
So, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler against Joe Hendry.
Shout out to my man Ziggler, man. Shout out to Ziggler. Man,
who do you think wins?
Was hated, man. You gotta break the people's heart.
Yeah. But does Kazarian break his heart?
Yeah, I say Joe Hendry because Kazarian
hates Nick.
Yeah, hates Nick Nemeth, and he does something to screw him.
He hates both of them.
Yeah,
he hate both of them. I ain't gonna lie. No,
all right. We got that out of the way. That was a quick one. I would say, you know what?
Sorry.
I think I'm just gonna write a blog about the indie spotlight. Can we just start doing that?
Yeah. Alex Kane, he's a great freaking wrestler. Does a lot of suplexes. Needs some serious attention. Former MLW champion.
Suplex assassin.
Yes, sir. All right, let's get out of here.
About that. Otherwise, yes, we had a good talk. Pleasure, D'Lo.
We apologize for the overrun. D'Lo, thank you for joining us.
Keith, if you want to preface us out.
Yeah, guys, catch us on Kiss Radio, catch us on Spotify, catch us on YouTube, catch us everywhere. And we will catch y'all. Apparently, we've been fined $5,000 by the FCC, so we'll be paying that off.
It's okay.
All right.
All right. Everybody, we'll see y'all next week, man. Make sure you tune in. Brent, D'Lo, you're welcome back anytime. Brent, we'll be back next week. Everybody, thanks for tuning in to Roundtable Wrestling.